Father in heaven, as we gather in your name, dear Lord, we ask that this international regional conference be one of fruitfulness. We ask that what is said here, Lord, be fruitful to human being, mankind. We ask that you guide the speakers. Bless all of us, dear Father. Give us traveling mercy on our way back because we have another day tomorrow. Bless us all, Lord. In your Son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you very much. Invite OWTU Executive Trustee, Comrade Richard Lee, who would lead us into a union song. We can't start this meeting without that song.
A medley of songs.
A medley.
I don't know why as he called me.
I know why.
Right. We meet today in freedom's cause and raise our voices high. We join our hands in union song to battle on to die. Hold the fort, for we are coming. Unionists be strong side by side. Side by side, we battle onwards. Victory fierce and long. Fierce and long the battle rages, but we never fear. Help will come. Help will come when help is needed. Share my comrades, share. Hold the fort, for we are coming. Unionists be strong. Side by side, we battle onwards. Victory will come when those who labor hold the reins of power. When those who labor hold the reins of power. Oh, I would like to be in that number. When those who labor hold the reins of power. When those who labor. Power. When those who labor hold the reins of power. Oh, I would like to be in that number. When those who labor hold the reins of power. Solidarity. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Our union makes us strong. For we will keep on struggling until we get a better day. We will keep on struggling until we get a better day. We will keep on struggling till we get a better day. Our union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Oh, solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Our union makes us strong. Oh, we will keep on struggling until we get a better day. Oh, we will keep on struggling until we get a better day. We will keep on struggling until we get a better day. Our union makes us strong. Our union makes us strong.
At this workshop now, comrades, all have your seat. Good morning, comrades, members of the media. It's indeed a pleasure for me to chair this formal opening of this very historic regional meeting, the very, very first industrial Caribbean regional meeting. And let me thank all my brothers and sisters, comrades, my comrades from the other Caribbean countries. Welcome. Let's give them a round of applause for being here with us this morning. And for all our various comrades from the Joint Trade Union Movement who thought it important to be here at this regional meeting, we give them a round of applause. And of course, the two hosts, Oilfield Workers Trade Union and Steelworkers Union of Trinidad and Tobago. We have a very important 2 days and we have a very important theme. The theme of this 2-day regional meeting is building union power nationally, regionally, and globally. And I will not waste any more time as I invite the President General of the Oilfield Workers Trade Union and leader of the Joint Trade Union Movement, Comrade Ansel Roger.
Comrade Ozzy, Chair of this opening session of this very important regional meeting here this morning. And let me start by, first of all, welcoming representatives from the various participating countries in the region here in the Caribbean. First, let me recognize, coming from the regional office of industriALL, that regional office is in Uruguay, Regional Officer Laura Carter. Let's just recognize her here this morning. Let me also recognize Jonan Harewood from the National Workers Union of St. Lucia. Yes, let's recognize. Baisia Alida of the State Oil Workers Union in Suriname, and I hope I pronounce it correctly. If I didn't, we will correct that later on. And Asokori Beckles of the National Union of Public Workers of Barbados. Yes. Robbie Berestein of Bauxite Workers Federation of Suriname, comrade. And Kem Riley of Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union. Let me also recognize here our very own comrades, from the Steel Workers Union, Comrade Christopher Henry, representing Steel Workers Union, and his executive here this morning. And of course, chair of this open session, Comrade Ozzy Warwick. I also want to recognize comrades from the executive of the Communication Workers Union, forming part of the Joint Trade Union Movement here with us this morning. Comrades from the executive of the, yes, representatives from the Communication Workers Union. And from the executive of TUTA here with us this morning, yes, also forming part of the Joint Trade Union Movement. Fire Services Association comrades here with Postal Workers Union, Banking and Insurance General Workers Union, BIGU, and also members of the Blue Shirt Army, members of the executive and officers of the Oilfield Workers Trade Union, members of the media, comrades all, and I hope I didn't forget anyone here this morning, comrades all. Comrades, who's saying here? Comrades all, good morning. Yes, good morning, comrades. Good morning. Let me start by saying that what we have today is part of a long journey, a significant part of a long journey, part of which we have already traversed, and another major part yet to be traversed in our destination for peace and for justice for workers throughout the region. And so the meeting that we are having here, this gathering here this morning, started way back in 2013. But before I talk about how we started that journey, I also want to talk about just a bit about industriALL. Now, industriALL represents some 50 million workers across the globe, coming from some 140 countries in all of the sectors, in energy, in oil, in mining, in manufacturing, in finance, and the majority of sectors. And so it was on the 19th of June, I think it was in 2012, there was this major founding congress of three trade union federations, the ICM, International Chemical Energy and Mining Workers Union, the International Metal Workers Federation, and the International Textile and Garment Workers Federation. Three of them came together, of course, after a lot of discussion and lobbying and campaigning. Those three internationals came together in the founding Congress in June of 2012 to form what is now industriALL. And industriALL, as I mentioned, representing some 50 million workers across the globe. And so it was in May of 2013, in the first regional meeting in Buenos Aires in Argentina. And that meeting was attended by trade unions throughout Latin America and the Caribbean, but the Caribbean was represented by just two unions from one country, and those two unions were the Oilfields Workers Trade Union and the Steel Workers Union of Trinidad and Tobago. So you had one country in the English-speaking Caribbean represented at that regional meeting, first regional meeting of industriALL in Buenos Aires in May of 2013. And at that meeting, we, on behalf of the English-speaking Caribbean, those two unions, Steelworkers Union and the Oilfields Workers Trade Union, we were lobbying for a presence on the Regional Executive Committee. But recognizing that the majority of participating unions in industriALL in the region come from Latin America, we recognized that we needed to have a greater presence of our comrades coming from trade unions in the English-speaking Caribbean and from the wider Caribbean region. Indeed, we felt that to widen and to deepen and to broaden trade union involvement, to build trade union power in the region, it cannot just be Trinidad and Tobago involved in industriALL. And so the journey to have this regional meeting was developed, and we started along the way. Many discussions took place, and from then to now, well, it's now history that we are having this meeting. I want to say this morning, comrades, from here gathered, from our own trade union umbrella body, umbrella of umbrellas, which encompasses trade unions from both federations in our country. I want to say that we have to recognize that globalization has no boundaries. And so for global capital continued existence and dominance, it continues to reinvent itself and take on many different shapes. And one of the most prominent identification of that is the consolidation of global capital. And so we would have witnessed from when we started to pay attention to now, and even before we were paying attention, global capital continue to consolidate itself through different mergers through different sectors, be it finance, be it energy, be it mining, telecommunication, all of those sectors, public sectors, services sectors, all of those sectors, global capital found it necessary to have a number of mergers to continue to exist and to dominate workers throughout the world. And our own challenge is for us to consolidate our existence. And so from time immemorial, we have been struggling to be able to concentrate our effort in unifying workers across the globe, indeed starting from across the region. We are here in this region, this part of the world, purely by dint of fate. We didn't plan to be here. It is the forces of globalization that brought us here some 500 years ago. And so that we are scattered across the Caribbean region, not by our doing, certainly not by our choice. It is because of the forces of globalization. And so 500 years later, we are still fragmented, we are still scattered across the region, and we fail to really join arms and join hands in uniting to build workers' power throughout the region. And that is what we aim to correct today by building trade union solidarity to gain workers' power regionally, to add to that greater power globally so that workers will consolidate their own power against global capital. And sometime in the 30s or the early 20s or even before that, there was this great effort of leaders in the Caribbean, trade union leaders, this effort to bring workers together with the unification of one Caribbean, that whole thought about bringing this space together and not be separated by the waters. But that had its own challenges, and so we must continue to pursue that dream. It is only when we can unite as workers, whether locally, regionally, and globally, we will be able to, in a most meaningful way, confront the power of global capital. We must never underestimate global capital. Already, for their own continued existence, you are hearing talk about layoffs, sending home workers, separation by whatever name you call it, whether it is VSEP or whether it is forced separation. At the end of the day, it would be those workers who assisted in building capital for employers who would take the first hit. So they're already counting the numbers. And in some discussions last night, we are already hearing that in Suriname, some 200 workers as we speak are being laid off, coming from the mining sector, coming from the 2,000, yes, 2,000 from one company and 200 from another company. And once that starts, you know it would take root because it is all part of a concerted plan to continue for them to exist, reinvent themselves at the expense of human capital, workers who are at the heart of making them profitable in the first place. And so we will not escape that here. And it is very important for us to have discussions as to how do we confront this major challenge in 2015. It is here. It's not coming. It is here. And many of them will take advantage using the whole question of the fall in price of oil and gas and commodities to send workers home, even though they are less impacted and in some cases not impacted. But those discussions have already begun. It is incumbent upon us, for us recognizing that our own existence and success going forward rests on our ability to consolidate our own power. In recognition of that, we are having these discussions. As a matter of fact, these discussions couldn't come at a more timely era in the existence of trade unions, not just in Trinidad and Tobago, indeed not just in the region, but throughout the entire world. And so this morning we embark on a two-day seminar, two-day meeting, where we will be pulling together all of the issues and threats that may want to keep us apart, remove them, and to have us come together in one united force. I want to also say this morning to give and express on behalf of the two trade unions that from Trinidad that are part of industriALL, members, affiliates to industriALL, express our profound thanks and appreciation for the assistance given to us with that solidarity statement back in 2014, last year. And it is one of the examples, just one of the examples of how industriALL, that major international global union, can assist when the need arises. It was in May of last year, in one of our regional meetings, we reported the issue of the attacks on trade unions in Trinidad and Tobago, both the Steelworkers Union and the Alphys Workers Trade Union, attending that meeting in Bogota, Colombia, in May of last year. We reported all of these attacks coming from the then government, the then People's Partnership government, attacking the trade union movement, attacking the joint trade union movement, and attacking workers, anyone who dared to stand up for decency and for accountability and against corruption, against a corrupt government. We were singled out for unbridled and frontal attacks. And so we reported that to the meeting. And that meeting, that regional meeting, resolved to assist us in giving solidarity, not just at the meeting, but solidarity in a written statement, which written statement was read out at our march on May the 23rd last year. And comrades will recall, and we must never forget the steps that was taken by the joint trade union movement through solidarity in fighting off the then government, those attacks that was leveled against the joint trade union movement and trade unions who dared to stand up for decency and democracy and against corruption. And so you would recall our march in Port of Spain, the nation's capital, on May the 23rd, when we asked all of the citizens in Trinidad and Tobago to take a stand for Trinidad and Tobago. And that was a very successful event, very successful march. And I just want to read the short message here this morning as I thank industriALL, and I thank, through you, our regional officer, Laura Carter. Through you, thank industriALL for the continued support and assistance, and of course for expressing solidarity in that statement last year in May as we march for decency, democracy, and for good governance and against corruption. And it reads, Geneva, 13 May 2014, the Alphys Workers Trade Union, the Steel Workers Union of Trinidad and Tobago, it's time to take a stand for Trinidad and Tobago. Dear colleagues, as Secretary General of industriALL Global Union, which represents more than 50 million workers in mining, energy, and manufacturing industry in some 140 countries, and in particular on behalf of the 250 delegates from 46 affiliate unions in 14 countries who attended the regional conference of industriALL Global Union last week, I am writing to express support for the It's Time to Take a Stand for Trinidad and Tobago demonstration that will take place on 23rd May. industriALL Global Union Regional Conference for Latin America and the Caribbean, held in Bogota, Colombia, from 7 to 8 May, was held under the banner Building Global Trade Union Power for economic and social justice. After hearing how the current government of Trinidad and Tobago has failed to implement the workers' agenda to which it committed itself in the lead up to the 2010 elections, trade union leaders from the manufacturing, energy and mining sector, from Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Curacao, Dominican Republic, Honduras, Guatemala, Mexico, Panama, Paraguay, Peru, and Uruguay unanimously endorsed the demonstration called by the Joint Trade Union Movement, J2UM. Colleagues, we stand with you in your struggle for transparency and accountable governance and for the defense of the rights and interests of workers, and wish you every success in your demonstration. In solidarity, Yoki Reiner, General Secretary of industriALL, this very powerful global union. And that is the kind of solidarity, so that when we marched on May 23rd last year, we were not alone. We were not alone here in Trinidad and Tobago, because we had the solidarity of our comrades throughout the region, indeed throughout the world. And that is what global trade union solidarity is about. And could you imagine, comrades, a world where all workers recognizing their power individually, all trade unions recognizing their power individually, but collectively recognizing that the individual power can never be the answer to the might and strength of global capital, and therefore we have absolutely no choice but to unite as trade unions to build solidarity and to build global union power. And that is where we are. I am of the view, my union, our brother union, members of the Joint Trade Union Movement, we share the view that it is not impossible to confront and to defeat the powers of global capital. We just have to get the formula and implement it, and that is international worker solidarity. A worker who cries out for assistance, or any worker or group of workers who cries out for assistance anywhere across the globe, must be responded by workers coming from everywhere across the globe. And that's the approach that we must take. We must begin the journey locally. That journey must extend regionally as we stretch our arms across the globe to our comrades in industriALL. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, comrades. I declare this conference open.
Thank you once again, Comrade Ansel Roger, President General of the Oilfield Workers Trade Union, and for his statement. We would like for reminding us of the importance of uniting to confront global capital and the value of international solidarity. I would like to now bring to the podium a brother union who has been with us for a while, and to say, quite frankly, since November 2012, when leadership was changed, we have really seen a completely different steelworkers union, one that is completely active and part of the national movement, but also part of the international movement. So that is none other. I would like to bring on the president of the Steelworkers Union of Trinidad and Tobago, our brother union here at affiliate of industriALL, that is Comrade Christopher Henry.
Comrade Chairman, Ozzy, work. Members of industriALL, Laurel Carter, visiting unions from English-speaking Caribbean countries, members of the Joint Trade Union Movement, members from other unions, members of the media, good morning. A warm welcome to all. And as Comrade Roger would have gone to length to explain the importance that we'd have placed on having solidarity in the English-speaking Caribbean to unite unions across the Caribbean so that we could unite in solidarity to fight capitalism. As we explore the need to build solidarity in the region between unions in the sectors, we are asked to look at building union power nationally, regionally, and globally. Over the next 2 days, it is hoped that at the end of the conference, we'll have a clear understanding on global unionism and the power it fosters. The mission of the trade union movement will always be the protection and empowerment of the working class and the creation of just and equitable work environment, and it must remain. However, unions must focus on new strategies to achieve this mission, while still expecting to support the broader social and economic objectives of higher productivity and competitiveness. And this is done with a huge challenge, of which to mention one, with the incoming of globalization and the associated increase in power of multinational companies. A global maelstrom of free market economic reform and their neoliberal political programs have wreaked havoc on existing forms of economic regulations and continually war against unions in an attempt to undermine union constituents and their established social protections. We must now agree that a fight for workers' rights in one country has to be a fight for workers' rights in every country. It is clear that we need global union alliances to ensure rights are respected and protected at home and at all workplaces throughout the world. As is well known and is evident, capital went global. Trade went global. Finance has gone global. And in this global economy that workers has found themselves in, we have no alternative but to build truly global unions, confederations with the ability to confront corporate power wherever it raises its ugly head, whether it is in the gold mines of Suriname, a shoe factory in Bangalore, a cell center in Barbados, or a steel plant in Trinidad and Tobago. Collectively, we will raise our heads to defend the working class. So as we look at the importance of building union power regionally and globally through our discussions in the next 2 days, it should become evident to us, especially unions that are not affiliated, that business and capital has gone global. And as I close, let me state that unless unions get on board and devote more resources to international organizations and continue to develop global super unions, which will respond even as speedily and concertedly as the financial markets, they will be unable to redress the power imbalance between labor and capital. Comrades, I look forward to the next 2 days' discussion. Thank you very much.